What do you say to both investors and operators that live here but are just sold on Texas, just completely sold on tenant laws, and just way over there saying, California is all shit. You should only be investing in red states. What is your response now to investors and GPs that are that way?
That's a great question, because what I want to tell people first and foremost is if anybody ever tells you you can't do well in real estate in X market, don't listen to that person, because there's a strategy that works everywhere. It just depends. So in Southern California, we don't want to do value add. And the reason is because it's much more difficult because of those landlord tenant laws. If I'm underwriting my business plan for how many units I'm going to turn each year and be able to renovate the units and get higher rents, it's almost impossible to really set dates, because as long as that tenant is paying rent on time, and you can increase rents, once if they're on month to month or whatever, you can't just say, I don't want to renew with you, I want you to move out, I'm going to renovate this unit and put someone else in. If they're paying their rent on time, the most you could do is raise rent to the maximum that you can with rent control. If they decide they want to keep renting it, they can keep renting it. You have to have a just cause to tell them they have to leave. And so it's really hard to extrapolate, okay, I can do 2 per month or whatever it is, and it's more risky. It could be done, and people do it, but it might take longer.
And if you're interested in the tenant laws in San Diego, reach out to me, okay? I know he's kind of broad, stroking it across the state of California. San Diego is a little bit different in some ways, but what he's saying generally is true. We do not want to be doing just traditional syndication, value add, force appreciation deals in Southern California.
Right. So what changed and made me want to invest in San Diego was not only that I live here, but San Diego just a couple of years ago implemented all of these bonus density bonus programs. And that is what made us make the pivot, because now we're seeing opportunity. I call it California Gold. I call it the new California Gold Rush. And just very briefly, what attracted us is that they implemented these programs where we can buy an existing lot, sometimes even an existing house, depending on where it's located, tear it down and build a brand new multifamily apartment complex in these neighborhoods where otherwise that wouldn't have been possible just 5 years ago.
This is called infill development.
Exactly.
We have leaned in, ADU Pals, myself, Sean has as well. I feel like it's the biggest blessing ever. Mm-hmm. Kind of like when they found gold, to your point.
Yeah.
It just was there. So then it's like, go get it, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to provide more color to that, because there might be some people that don't understand how lucrative that could be. And there's a couple of things. Like, number one, San Diego is ground zero for the housing crisis. I've said this to you before, everyone says it is geographically constrained, and it is. You have the ocean to the west, we border Mexico to the south, you've got mountains to the east that are too expensive to build on, and then Camp Pendleton to the north, and basically all of the vacant land has been built on, with the exception of a couple abandoned golf courses. There's all this urban sprawl, and the city is now the most competitive rental market in California. On average, 17 renters are competing for the same apartment.
So I have a buddy who just finished a 5-plex ADUs. A couple of them are 1-1, Sean. By day 2, 40 contacts, 15 applications. 2 days, dude.
Exactly. It's crazy. There's been a lot of people moving here from the Bay Area. The list goes on and on. A lot of biotech's been growing here. The climate is phenomenal. People want to live here, but there's not enough places to rent or buy.
Agreed.
And now people are, priced out of buying. The median home price is $1 million here.
So the last guy I had on as an agent, he told me that inventory is actually doubled. So it was like 1,800 homes on the market like maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And now there's like 4,000. But you're right. Sellers still are not coming to terms with price points.
Mm-hmm.
And then to purchase a home, you're at $1 million to get going. On the very low end, certain markets, maybe you're at 600, 650, 700.
Yeah.
But generally you're at $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a cheap mortgage, especially with debt where it is.
Exactly. So most people are forced to keep renting. Now, you're thinking, okay, Sean, I get it. Housing is needed there. So another way that I could put this is, if I were to buy a value add existing apartment complex, near the beach in the markets that we're focusing on, primarily Pacific Beach and Ocean Beach, I'm going to spend on the low end $400,000 if it's in a decent location for a value add multifamily. And this is going to be a place that has
400,000 a door.
a door. Sorry, 450,000 plus a door. I mean, I've seen stuff trading recently in the 500s, and this is stuff that's existing where it's going to be hard to slowly implement your business plan if you're renovating it. Okay. And then you're going to have a high expense ratio because most apartments in San Diego are built in the 50s and the 60s, and they have cast iron pipes and stuff. You're going to have a lot of issues. Or I can build brand new, okay, less than a mile from the beach. My all-in cost might come in, like, on average, around $400,000 to $450,000 a door, depending on, you know, your finishes, what your basis is when you buy it, and things like that. And my brand new property is going to have much lower expense ratio because, number one, I'm going to have a lower tax basis if I build it. Number two, all of my components are new. My plumbing is brand new and everything. You get a 5-year builder's warranty. So you're able to keep your expenses in the low to mid 20% range, whereas that other value add property I told you about, you're going to be more like 50 to 60 with your new tax basis, with the repair and maintenance being really high because it's built in the freaking 50s. So
if some of these terms are a little bit confusing, do me a favor, reach out to us, leave it in the comments, reach out to Sean, Takeoff Capital. We're going to leave his information in the description, myself, obviously, and go on Investopedia and figure it out because tax basis is hugely important when you're buying a new property. Amenities, really important. Operating expenses, as he's talking about, very important. How much property management is going to cost. And then when you're buying a piece of real estate that's already there, as we were talking about earlier, the miscellaneous costs, once you open up those walls, when you own that thing, you have to move the tenants out. We have the renter laws. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why what Sean's talking about now with building new construction versus buying an existing piece of property and value adding makes a tremendous amount of sense in our market.
Exactly. So it depends on the market because here in San Diego, this makes perfect sense. In Dallas, there's way too much supply that's been going online. You'll hear a lot about that. Like, oh, Dallas rents in Fort Worth are actually declining. Austin rents are declining because they put so much new supply on. That strategy might not work as well over there. That is not the case in San Diego. So in San Diego, just to kind of recoup, some of my reasons why, I'm putting in these new tenants myself. I don't have the risk of inheriting some crappy tenant and struggling to get them out. I'm putting them in at market rate. Two, if I build brand new with something like Complete Communities, I don't have rent control that doesn't apply to me for 15 years. So you eliminate that risk. You're eliminating a lot of the high expense risk. So
not to mention AMI, I'll throw this in, is so high here that people hear affordable housing and they automatically think Section 8, and for the record, Section 8 sometimes does really well, but people think in their mind something that it's not. It's based on the amount of money that's being made in that city, and it's very expensive to live in San Diego, and candidly, our demographic is generally pretty high, so it really doesn't affect your bottom line numbers nearly as much as people think. In addition to that, it is doing something helpful from a PR perspective of helping people and creating more housing that people can actually live in. So you have to obviously look at the numbers and see how it pencils out. But if you're starting here and it just drops down to here, it's not like you're starting here and then you're ending up here.
Right.
So that would be my thoughts on that. Another thing I want to say is Sean knows the market. He drives down the streets. He knows the people. He knows what's being bought, what's being traded, what's coming to market, where the cross streets are, where rents drop.
Yep.
Because you live in the market. I have to trust a guy in Dallas or I have to trust a guy in Austin that maybe lives here, and then he's trusting another guy, and there's another point of disconnect, and he's flying out there and taking videos and coming back, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. In Pacific Beach, there's a difference between if you live, let's say, close to Mission Boulevard or close to Mission Boulevard and North PB by Turquoise Avenue, where it's much more sought after. People want to live in North PB more, or like Crown Point is more sought after too. Like the streets make a difference. Like
100%
down to the block. And
I mean, there was a time when Claremont was not thought highly of. Linda Vista is now being turned over. But bro, like the price point from La Jolla and PB going up the hill would drop by 100%, 200%, but that's not the case anymore. Your duplex in Claremont's crushing. I have some friends that have property in Claremont, crushing. But you only know that by knowing the market. When I was growing up, dude, Claremont was not how it is now.
Yeah, it wasn't very nice.
It was not.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the point. Streets are important. Knowing the market's important. Again, knowing the inventory, knowing who's building what. where people are having success, where they're not, what amenities. I mean, all this stuff kind of is general across the board, but it gets better when you're in the niches, which is why the riches are in the niches, and knowing what to bring to market and what market you're in, how to maximize it, and that's why you're doing this job.
Exactly, and that's like talking about niches. That's also why we like being west of the 5 and being in these beach communities. To put it into perspective, like the new project we're doing that's in OB/Sunset Cliffs, I told you that was one of 7 new apartment complexes built within in that area. 57 new apartment complexes have been built in North Park in that same period of time. And so
shout out North Park. Sean, look, Sean has thoughts on North Park. I love North Park.
It's still a great market, dude. I'm just saying that we look at it as, okay, people want to live by the beach and there's no new supply for them. Everybody
additional challenges which you have navigated.
Of course.
I love it. I love it. And I do not think everyone knows me. I'm a San Diego guy. I honestly do not think you can go wrong. You'd have to be making some serious mistakes to go wrong buying real estate in San Diego.
Yeah.
Sean loves the beach, and I have some other investors that love the beach. They only invest by the beach. I know some investors that will only buy beachfront property, dude.
Oh, wow.
Literally on the beach.
Very specific.
We're gonna move forward on. We're gonna skip YLP. I think people get that. We explained that. We are going to go over. Okay, so in your current deal, so we're actually talking. It's a great segue. So you're working on this 20 units, right?
Yeah.
In Ocean Beach, out Tutors. Is this the one you're currently going to bring out?
Yeah. So probably in roughly a month, we'll be announcing it and holding a webinar. But it's going to be 20 units, and this is a 506c raise, so it's for accredited investors only.
506c accredited investors only, guys.
Yeah. So basically, you have to make $200,000 or more over the past 2 years, year over year. Or if you file jointly with a spouse, you can collectively make $300,000 a year or more, or you have $1 million in net worth, which can include the equity in your home and your 401k and all that. But yeah, so we're going to be raising that. We're working on all the marketing material and preparing the deal, all the legal stuff, and we'll be starting construction in October. But yeah, more on that to come. If you guys want to follow along and see how that looks, even if you can't invest and you just want to see what the hell it's going to look like and the renderings and all that, you can go to takeoutcapital.com and just fill out the investor form, and no matter what, I'll still send it to you.
Beautiful. You guys, you can follow Sean on Instagram. Sean also has a podcast. Sean is very active on Instagram, and he's here in the market, you guys. He comes to meetups. Obviously, he's doing the pod today. Just a wealth of knowledge. So stoked that you and I connected and are becoming friends, dude. So That's the new deal Sean has coming. He said this might be his last deal for the year. So you guys want to catch it before it's gone. Obviously, he's in real estate, though. So he might be land banking a couple. We'll see. He'll keep those in the tool shed until they're ready to come out.